Everybody, and welcome to the live match reaction with myself, Aaron, and Race, following Liverpool's 2-1 victory over Crystal Palace with another injury time winner, because we don't like to do anything easy, and the cardiac arrest rate for all Liverpool supporters is going to be going through the fucking roof this year so far. Oh, we have Harmony. Thank God he's here. Right, we'll open up here and get Harmony in as well. Harmony, welcome. Long time no see, my friend. How are you?
I know. It's been so long since I've been with you guys, man. How you lot doing? You good?
I'm good. Nice to be back on a victory Saturday. It's beautiful. Love to see it.
Beautiful. Another 12 o'clock kickoff, but a win.
Oh, look, we might have broken the 12:30 kickoff curse, and that's the only way that I look at it. And the away curse. That we've had 2 away games and we've come away from both with victories and 6 points out of them. And we now currently sit top of the league. And Arsenal have to go and do a number on Aston Villa, which I think Aston Villa will actually give them a great game at 5:30 this evening. However, with that, there was some negatives in this game, unfortunately. We didn't perform for 90 minutes, and then all of a sudden we pinged 2 in the space of 10 minutes. No, Anissa, it's not possible for this club to win in any way, shape, or form in an easy way. They always have to take 5 years off my life every time we play a game, but that is the price you pay for being a Liverpool supporter. However, we'll get into some opinions about the game first. Please feel free to throw yours into the comments too. Make sure that you like and subscribe and help us hit the 10K mark. We're so close to it at the moment. We're on 9,900 subscribers at the moment, I believe, so make sure you have all your notifications on for all future videos and streams as well. But without further ado, let's get into some of the match reaction. Race, give me a couple of your thoughts on the game as a whole, what you thought were some positives, what you thought were some negatives, and then we can dive deeper into a couple of them later on in the stream.
Yeah, like you mentioned, we really were, asleep for a lot of the game, in the first half. Palace, we were dominating the game, but Palace had the best chance of the game on that breakaway. Allison coming up with a huge save, and he was just immense today. And then Palace go down to 10 men with the second yellow to Jordan Ayew, and then we get our goal instantly, and then that wakes us up. And it's a shame that, it takes, us so long, and that's kind of been a trend for us this season, of course, just taking so long to get that first goal or conceding first and needing something to wake us up instead of us, waking ourselves up, And, I will say for this, early kickoff on Saturday, not much of an excuse this time because Palace as well played midweek. So you could just say for us it was on the road. But in the end, we both played a game on Wednesday. So, that kind of excuse, not necessarily applying so much to this one. But still, that dreaded kickoff time, it's just something about it. But we do get the job done today. And then, of course, SALAH gets the goal. And we just keep applying pressure. And then, Harvey off the bench, as he's done, so many times this year, he's looked well off the bench and gets rewarded with the winner here. And of course, it's been the constant scene with Klopp making these substitutions in the second half, really changing the game. And I think that also speaks to the depth that we have this year. Of course, we're able to bring on quality from the bench, and they're able to change the game. It's not just fresh legs; it's fresh legs and quality. So that's always been good to see. I think we're all in agreement that we're getting 3 points however we can. We don't care how it happens. We do get it, but I can't help but think in the back of my mind, and I'm sure you guys might agree with this, these performances, that we put out there are just, these poor performances in the beginning, it takes us some time to really get into the game. It's definitely a trend that I don't like to see. And it's something that we definitely have to be better at, especially when you're in a title race. You can't just keep relying on these late winners. Eventually your luck's going to run out. Eventually that well is going to dry up. So we have to be better at just doing something to just get into these games more and not relying on late heroics, because that we know how tight those margins are for a title. So all credit to Palace, because they had a number of key injuries, for this game, and they really put in a good performance themselves, which made the performance for us more disappointing because they didn't have some key players. And come on, guys, they don't have, let's do something. Let's get a result. But thankfully we do get this, result here, and hopefully, we can just keep improving and continue to just build and just play better, really.
Yeah, it's a game of ups and downs, realistically. Harmony, I'll come to you as well. Just give us positives, negatives, how you thought the game went. Were you happy with the performance or just happy with the result at the end of the day?
I think I'm gonna agree with Race here. I think the performance wasn't great, and even though we dominated the ball, we had a lot of possession, but we weren't quick enough with the ball movement. So it gave Palace time for them to just kind of rearrange and just sit back and just, they had everything in front of them as well, because no one was trying to make that dart and run, that deep run. That Szoboszlai could have made that deep run. Gravenberch could have done it as well, or Nunes could have done it as well, but no one was making that deep run. Everything was so in front of them that it was just so easy for them to defend, and basically, we couldn't break them down. But I think it just goes down to show you that the mentality that this team has. I think in this moment of time, as us fans, obviously we want to see great performances. We want to see us, dominate the game from start to finish. But I think we're in that period right now where our performance is not really something that we should really be concerning ourselves about when it comes down to this particular period, because it's such a short turnaround. These guys have such a short time to recover as well. It's more like, let's just get the 3 points and move on. Better days are to come. And I also think about the slow starts is something that I think we're going to have to get used to this year, because I think you also got to remember that we got a lot of new players into the squad, and they need to get used to this team. They still haven't really gelled together yet, even though they're playing really well together. I think there's a whole another gear that this team could go to, especially if these guys have more time, playing on the pitch, kind of getting that consistency and playing together. So that is what I'm kind of looking at right now. The slow starts are annoying, yes, I understand that, but I think it's more about just getting the 3 points right now and just keeping that momentum and keeping that pressure on Arsenal, because I think that if we keep our foot on their throat until January, I think we got a serious chance of actually, them dropping points rather than us, because we've been there, we've done it, we've gone through that crunch time, we've gone through that hard time, and they haven't really done it. Last season, they were having a good spell because there was no one else there apart from Man City. Chelsea wasn't great, we weren't great, Man United wasn't great, and I think this season it'll be different because obviously we're all back to our game, So so that's how I kind of look at the game. And I also think that Salah's going to be better going on forward now. I think it always happens with Salah. When he's close to breaking a landmark, he's always trying to get that goal or that pass. So his
like getting the monkey off his back.
Yeah, exactly. So I think now he's kind of got that out of the way now. He's almost like, okay, now kind of relax and just play my game. And I think we're going to see much better performance going forward from Mo Salah. But overall, not happy with the full performance. But at the end of the day, we got the 3 points at a difficult away ground with a team that wasn't really, they were just threatening a counter-attack, and we done well.
Yeah, it's essentially, as you mentioned, at the end of the day, I will take a poor performance every week, game in, game out, if we win the game. I don't care. Win the game. Nobody will care how you win a league as long as you win the league. And Aaron, I'll throw a little bit of a different question towards yourself. Helier mentions here that is it ever possible to develop a game plan against a low block team that hit us on the break, or is it purely just discovering fire every time and allowing quality to overcome them? Because realistically, I don't think there is a game plan that you can have for a low block team. It's just you're when somebody parks 10 of their 11 men in front of their box, you either need to have a prime Barcelona tiki-taka kind of a team that can ping it around and really quickly and have great ball movement, or you need somebody like a Messi or a Ronaldo that garners so much attention. Otherwise, it's purely continuous pressure and try and break them down. Do you think there's any sort of a game plan that could come in with this?
Like, you can have a game plan of how you want to try, break it down, and you move the ball quickly, side to side, stuff like that. But there's no special secret that other teams have figured out that we haven't, to all of a sudden completely unlock a low block. Like, especially in the Premier League, when the teams like Palace, like, if you watch, say, a La Liga game, Real Madrid, they're coming up against a low block most weeks. Very few of them teams are going to be anywhere near as good as that Crystal Palace side. Like, that's a decent team. And when you have a team like that who are well organised and have a lot of good quality players in there playing with a low block, like, it's difficult. Like, it is. Man City struggle with it. Arsenal struggle with it. It's just the way it is. And, we're getting the 3 points. That's all that matters in those games. But I just think talking about the bigger picture for the minute, like we're top of the league now. Realistically, I think a lot of people are accepting it's probably a 3-horse race for the title. I don't think the points total that wins it this year will be anywhere near what we're used to in the last couple of years, regardless of who wins it. I think we're a team in transition. We know that we have a whole new midfield. City are having a major drop off, I think, after the peak they've reached. I think they've peaked and they are on their way down from that now. They're still an amazing team. And then Arsenal are kind of they're similar to us in they've kind of they're a bit ahead of us in that new kind of team that they're building. Yeah, they're a year or two ahead, but they also still have a lot of holes in that team too. So I think these performances aren't as concerning to me because I don't think it's going to be a title race to the standard of like when us and City were going at it, just smashing teams every week. Like I don't think anyone's going to do that this year. I think the league has kind of settled down a little bit in a sense of the teams at the top have come a lot closer. And we're, I think, a year probably ahead of where we should be if you look at the table when it comes to this rebuild, this whole Liverpool 2.0 that Klopp talked about. So I think if we can keep picking up these points and, like I said, just tick them off every week and it gets to March, then that's where we start, I think, getting really excited and kind of you can hone in on the performance because that's when you need to really, step up. But for now, I think we just have to be over the moon. Like, look, we're not getting quality for 90 minutes, but I don't think that should be expected of this team. Look, we can criticize individual moments and players need to do better at certain times, but look, we just have to take these points and keep going. We're top of the fucking league. So I don't think we can be too negative at all.
No, but it is pertinent of us to be critical rather than negative of the performance, and it's fine to be critical and negative, but certain people and certain Twitter people and certain people in the social sphere coming out only when negativity hits does get a little bit annoying, and anybody can come at me about that. I don't care. I have receipts. But it's from my own opinion, I wasn't necessarily happy with the performance it was earlier. The performance that was there, we were very slow and sluggish, but again, that's to be expected from having played a game on Wednesday and then having played a game today. It's not an excuse, it's merely just stating a fact. Palace had to do the exact same thing, but Palace's game plan is different to ours, whereas they sat and then tried to counter, whereas we had 80% of the possession through the first half. So realistically, we may have hit a wall between the 45th and the 60th minute. I think I seen a statistic somewhere that said 70 minutes in, we had no shots on target, and then all of a sudden we win 2-1. If that isn't the epitome of how this season is going so far from us, I don't really know what to say other than that. But we'll just have a look at some other things in it as well, because realistically, this game is just absolutely bonkers. First of all, we'll talk about the first non-penalty decision that was eventually turned back. Aaron, I'll come back to you on this one. Was this correct? Well, even did the referee, do you feel, maybe miss it first, or just blatantly not call it and just wanted to see how the play developed, or was it correct to have VAR intervene, come back, call the foul on Endo, which I personally think it was a foul. I don't know how it wasn't called a foul in the first place. There was multiple decisions today. The second yellow for Jordan Ayew was one that even puzzled me, and I don't even feel like that should have been a red card, but I think that's what won us the game, realistically. Them getting that sort of haymaker punch against them in the form of a referee decision, and then all of a sudden Salah scores 90 seconds later, and they're just reeling at that point. That's like getting 2 punches from a prize fighter, and you're just knocked back and staggering. Thoughts on the refereeing decision today? I know we chatted about it very, very briefly before the stream started, should I say?
Yeah, I think, look, going with the 2 penalties, I think they were both the right decisions in the end. Now, how the ref got to those decisions is a little bit questionable. But how long he took for the Endo one, I think, was ridiculous. I think every single person that's seen that, other than Palace fans, thought that was a foul. I think even Rio Ferdinand was on our side with that one. So what does that say? But yeah, that was a clear foul. Took a bit longer than we wanted, but look, I'm not a huge arguer that, we need to get very quickly. We obviously should be sped up, but once the right decision was made, I'm quite happy there, and it was. With the second one, it's annoying because of the gap in how long it took for the game to be stopped. But if we're going by the rules and the VAR system that's in place, again, it was the right decision made. It's annoying. It's a poor system. I think we've gone over this enough times. There needs to be something better brought in for how it's utilized. But going by the rules that are in place, it was the right decision again. And then with the yellow, the second yellow, you could argue that it's soft, but that was their game plan, the tactical fouls. I think if that's a first yellow card, everyone's saying, yeah, that's a textbook yellow. I had a quick look on Reddit in a few places, and a lot of people seem to agree with the ref decision, and it was stupid on Aya's part to make that foul. I think it was just, there was no malicious intent or anything, but it's stopping a counter attack. It's one that's given a lot of the times. Sometimes it's not. Some refs are kind of, they ref a game and they're not, given those. But like we said earlier, he kind of set a precedent in the first half that he wasn't going to be putting up with those fouls, and he was handing out bookings to them. And Palace didn't adapt to that, and they just kept doing them, and it cost them in the end. And look, we benefited greatly from it. These refereeing decisions, it ended up going our way today. Next week it might not. It's just the way it is. But I don't think he had a bad game at all. I think even any decisions that people aren't happy with, they're at best, I'd say, arguable. They're kind of 50-50. So yeah, we take it.
It's odd that you say that, because like I think why we've been arguing all year, we don't care about, not that we don't care about the quality of refereeing, but at least be consistent. And he was handing out yellow cards for those breakaway tackles earlier in the game and telling people to quit it and stop it. And like that's the situation. And I'd also like to point out, I just after seeing it there, and I posted it up, SALAH has come in and scored a goal. United are 1-0 down against Bournemouth, so they can all go shite. That's hilarious. SALAH, great goal. With
big mid-table clash.
Oh yeah, mid-table clash. You love to see it. Hilarious. They beat Chelsea. I wouldn't mind. I have a mate that's a United, that's a Man United supporter, and he was like, "Yeah, we're going to lose 3-0 now this game after beating Chelsea 2-1 or 3-1 or whatever it was." But Harmony, I'll come to you as well with the same question that I gave to Aaron. We've been crying out for quality refereeing, at least bare minimum, consistent refereeing. How are you? And I know we don't like to talk about the refs or make the game about the refs, but realistically, they've made it about themselves. So, were you happy with his decisions today? My only gripe was possibly the VAR, not the referee on the pitch, but VAR taking so long to come back and call a penalty back after like 2 minutes. Were you of a similar thought process, or just we're fine with him?
I think we have to understand that we want the right decision to be made. And that might not be instantly straight away, because these guys have to make sure that this decision they're about to make is correct. So it might take a minute, 2 minutes. And I think we also got to look back at the circumstance that the situation we had with Diaz against Tottenham. If they did the exact same thing they did this in this game and took time to actually review that goal, then we would have never had that problem with the whole Diaz situation. So you can kind of go hand in hand with it. We want them to take a bit of time to make the right decision, but we also want that decision to come quickly and fast. And I think even that penalty that they got given, it was a penalty. I don't know why it took them so long to make that decision. It was a clear and obvious penalty. Kwanzaa came in late and he hit the guy. The ball was really gone by the time he made a connection with him. So I don't know why it took them so long to make that decision. But at the end of the day, we also got to praise them for the fact that they even came to the right decision. You know what I mean? So yes, it's frustrating. I think also with these referees, I feel like there's no point talking about them anymore, because they're gonna this happens every week with every single team. Every fan base are gonna be talking about them. Every fan base is gonna come up and say they've done this, they could have done this better, they could have done that better. And I think it's also that we also gotta understand that these referees are friends. These guys can be like, oh, you're not gonna we removed him from a duty. 2 weeks later, he comes back and plays, and he's back again in the job. So there's no consequences for the mistakes that these referees are making. So it's kind of easy for them to be like, oh, okay, I made a mistake. I'm probably not going to referee for the weekend. Next week I'll be back, or I'll be in the VAR, doing that, and then next week I'll be back. So there's no really fear for them to actually, referee the game properly, because they know that there's no serious consequences within the mistakes that they're making, within the decisions that they're making within the game. And obviously, us fans and the players and the managers, they have to take the brunt of that because they can't speak about the referees. They can't criticize them. They can't come out and say what you guys are doing is wrong. And when one manager does, the other team, instead of backing that manager and trying to make the game better, they sit back and just see, hey, oh, it's human error. It happens. But when it happens to them, they want everybody to start talking as well. So, it's kind of difficult to kind of get this ball rolling to fix up the refereeing. So, yeah.
That, like, the Spurs situation is case in point. We cried for consistency at that point, and we said that this isn't a Liverpool thing. This is like, if we get this, and even the likes of Amara Gilbert came out and said that Liverpool coming out and stressing this point and looking at other options and stating they were going to look at other options is the perfect thing to do, and we should all back them. But then every other manager and team and helmets from other fan bases basically said, nah, fuck them. And then all of a sudden it happens to their team and then they cry foul. And we're like, no. You got to respect the referee's decision. Like, Ange came out and started giving out about it left, right, and center. And we were like, no, mate. You got to respect the decision. That's what you said. You made your bed, lie in it.
Exactly.
We wanted you a couple of weeks ago when you said that you like, and at least have the fucking integrity to turn around and say we probably got away with one there when you beat us. The only team to beat us this season so far. Without that, we would currently be 2 to 3 points ahead of Arsenal at this very moment, and possibly could be sitting still at the top of the table after today. Without that, even with an Arsenal win later on. But it's as Harmony, as you mentioned, we could talk about this for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it just doesn't. It doesn't necessarily. It doesn't help, unfortunately. But
it goes. So just add this. It kind of goes back to the conversation me, Kev, and Amo and Nathan had last week about the whole Hillsborough situation. The law being turned down and taking so long for them to come up with a decision. It's almost like if it doesn't happen to someone that is sitting up there, it doesn't matter. For us, you know what I mean. So it has to happen to somebody that is has a massive influence within the game for them to actually take it seriously, or it has to be a thing where one fan base is trying to get people to listen. It's not about us, it's about everything to try to get everyone united, but everyone just looking after themselves. And it kind of goes back to the same referee situation. Everybody's just looking out for themselves, their own interests. So we're never going to see anything change. You know what I mean? So there's no point in just even talking about it. We just have to be like, oh, well, there we go again. Another week, another conversation. Let's just move on because there's no point. Nothing's going to change.
And then the conversations like that, race with referees taking over the conversation every week, it takes away from great performances or great moments of a game, like Harvey Elliott's goal today. The refereeing decisions will probably take first and foremost front page news, and with how long it took for VAR to make the decision on the penalty, regardless of whether it was a correct decision or not, if it's an issue, stop the game there. Can stop the game there, but apparently they couldn't pull it back for the Spurs game. That was my thought straight away. And I understand maybe the free kick was taken and a new phase of play begins, but when you let play run and Palace then lose possession, what if we had gone up the pitch and scored immediately after that, but then they called it back, even though Palace might have then kicked off the ball? That then completely delegitimizes the argument made for the Spurs game, meaning that we should have had a goal awarded. And it just, again, consistency. And it's the fact that all of these refereeing decisions then take center stage rather than good performances made by players. Like Salah was off it for all the game, and then all of a sudden he leaves the game with a goal and an assist. It's madness. Like, so speaking of performances, give me your man of the match and give me who you think possibly was the worst performer of the match in that game. And I'll come to Harmony and Aaron on their answer as well for that.
I think a few guys I would have contention. Well, I thought Virgil was really good in this one. I thought he was just stellar at the back. Of course, Salah, again, it's kind of the thing. Like you said, not really doing much the whole game, but ends up with a goal and assist, which obviously is the difference. And then, I thought Trent had a decent game. Special shout out to the guys off the bench, Gomez and Gakpo and Elliott, of course, making an impact. I guess it'd probably be either Virgil or Salah for me. I guess, it's you could go either one, I think, but probably Salah just to getting us back to the game there, taking advantage of Palace going down to 10 men right away, and then a minute later we're equalizing there. So big moment in the game. Of course, Endo being taken off at halftime. He looked, Palace clear that Palace were pushing him, and of course, with the first VAR check that penalty that didn't go through because he was fouled. In that situation, he's got to get rid of the ball right there. He gets fouled. Go on him, but he needs to get rid of that ball. He can't be baiting defenders in because again, you run the risk of the referee letting the play go into VAR. He's looking at that for like a really, really long time, and he's almost trying to convince himself that, oh, should I overturn this? Because what should we do? You never want to leave it up to the ref decisions. You want to put the decisions in your own hands, in your own feet, you should say. So I thought him coming off at halftime was a clear indictment of us. Trent then going up into the midfield there and doing his thing. So you just look across. Like we said, this revamped midfield that we have, it's still a work in progress, even though we've had good performances here and there. They still show that there's still some work to do, and they can certainly have an off day. And bringing on fresh legs was key to us getting a result there. And then Nunez up top, I think he's just going through it right now, just losing some confidence, playing the wrong, should he head it in? Should he, stick a foot out? And just not, making good contact with the ball. And of course, we know how erratic he is, and how chaos is what he brings to the table. And of course, with that chaos, you get goals, but then you also get some wild misses or just kind of overall misplaying the ball. So he's gonna we've seen this, of course, with Nunez up and down. So hopefully he can get back on track. But like we all said, it wasn't the best performance. So a lot of you could pick your piece. And then, of course, back Alisson, too, coming up with the two huge saves. I think he deserves, obviously, a big shout-out to him. Coming back into the side, too, thankfully, he came back today. Because without him, we lose that game. He may have Palace's two best chances straight at him, or not straight at him, but, he makes a good save. And just keeps, especially that last free kick. I think we're all in our heads like, oh, Palace get a free kick here in 99th minute. What's going to happen, and then he comes with a huge save. I mean, just immense, and showing us why he is the best goalkeeper in the world.
Yeah, for me, it's Alisson. To be perfectly honest with you, I can't see how anybody would pick anybody else for the man of the match in that. I'm biased. I'm a goalkeeper myself, but I couldn't give a shit. I think goalkeeping is the hardest position on a football pitch, and anybody that says otherwise clearly has never played the position. However, Aaron, give me your man of the match and who you thought possibly was our worst performer, and a couple of thoughts maybe of in-between players as well.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go with Alisson as well, and then probably the three lads or four lads that came on were our best performers. I think the 11 that started today just weren't really up to it in the first half. I thought Endo getting whipped at half time was a bit harsh. I don't think it was really a performance thing. I think it was just more of a Klopp said, right, we need to change something in this midfield. He was just the one that got sacrificed. I probably would have taken off Gravenberch, to be honest. But look, nobody kind of shone very well in the first half other than Alisson with the save. But yeah, I think the lads that come on were brilliant. I think, one or two shouts for Elliot to start maybe, but I like kind of having him there to come on in that substitute role, especially when you need a goal. You're chasing the game.
That's what I think he is.
The game's a bit more open, and there's more space for him to kind of do what he likes to do on the ball. He's a bit more time to pick a pass, and he can we know how good he is with his left foot to put them in the box. So I think don't just start throwing him in for the sake of it. I think it's working now, bringing him on in these, so why not just keep doing that? We do need to still find their best midfield. I don't think Klopp even knows yet who his best three is, because Endo's seen a lot of the balls today, and he got nicked a few times, but he's never been from what I would think, in a relegation fighting team, he would have never been a number 6 that would have had to receive the ball on the turn that much. Because we're such a possession-based side, our number 6 is much more ball-orientated than 90% of other teams. Hence why Rodri works so well for City, is he can do all that, tackling, destroying, and he's amazing on the ball. That's not Endo. Like, we know he's not going to take the ball in the half turn and start pinging amazing passes, but he's there to do a job, and for the most part, he does it. It's just the style of number 6 we need is a very specialized role. and we're kind of just having lads fill in for the moment. And look, it's getting us by. We're not the strongest in that position, but we knew that going into the season. That nobody should be shocked now that we're sometimes struggling there. But yeah, I think the midfield just needs to be worked out. Klopp needs to kind of settle on a three. I think the only one locked in really is Szoboszlai, but then again, I don't think he's going to be able for the volume of football that we have coming up based on how little he's played previously. So yes, everybody's going to have to chip in. I think, yeah, probably Van Dijk, Alisson, and then the lads that come on were the standards today. Salah again does what he does, poor all game really, and then just pops up at the two moments when we need him. Which look, that's what he's there for. He puts the numbers up, so we can't really ask for a whole lot more at the end of it.
At the end of the day, if he wins you the game, if he plays horrible for 99% of the game, and then a moment of brilliance in the last 1% of the game that gets you a win, who cares? Realistically, at the end of the day, as I mentioned, it doesn't matter how you win as long as you win. If we win the Premier League on a 7-6 scoreline, that Salah scores 3 in 2 minutes at the end of the game to win the game and plays horribly for the rest of it, we wouldn't care. We won. Harmony, same question to yourself, and I'll throw another caveat into it. How did you feel about Kwanzaa starting over Konate for the first time, and did you feel Konate came on and kind of made a statement being like, you should be starting me going forward, and give me your man of the match, and how you thought some players performed as well, and if you had anybody that you feel possibly shouldn't be starting going forward?
I don't think there's anyone that shouldn't be starting. I think everybody's kind of making their claim as to why they should start. I think Kwanzaa had a decent game, barring that mistake that penalty. I think he was quite solid today, and I don't think he was troubled as much because, like I said, we kept possession. The majority of the time they actually attacked us was just on the counter, and I feel like he dealt quite well with that. And I think I'm not going to be too harsh on him because I think this is just a learning curve, and I'm glad that Klopp kind of put him in the side today to kind of gauge where he's at within his development and what he can improve on, and obviously he can kind of see the levels that he needs to get at to continue to be in the team consistently. So I'm not going to be quite too hard on Kwanzaa. I think he's a talent that we need to take care of, and we need to diligently bring him into the team slowly at the way that Klopp is doing it, and I think it's just perfect for him. So, and he got the experience to play against Virgil, so you know what I mean. So I feel like there's more upsides to Kwanzaa's today for Kwanzaa than downsides. That's how I look at it personally. For me today, like you said, I've got Enzo. I think is the physical side. I think if we were playing a less physical team, I think he would have been fine. But because I think Palace is such a physical team, they were on him. As soon as he got that ball, someone was straight onto him, and I feel like he just can't handle that kind of pressure. Maybe he needs to go into the gym more, but I don't think that's gonna make a difference. You're built the way you're built. The gym can only help you so much. You know what I'm saying? So, so that kind of brings a cause of concern for me personally, because a team can watch that and say, "Oh, okay, when he plays, all we have to do is just keep doing that, and then Klopp will take him off." And like you said, it might not have been because he was playing badly, mainly because of the physical side of the game that he couldn't handle. And I think that is the reason why I feel like we definitely need to get a 6 at some point. I don't know when we'll do that, but I feel like we definitely need to get a 6, and he could be back up. Mo, yeah, he was all right. Like I said, I feel like he was just trying to get that 200th goal. I think we'll see the best of Mo when he plays against Man United. He was performing against Man United, so we've got that to look forward to. Again, coming away with an assist and a goal, and it kind of just shows the quality of the guy. He doesn't have to play well for him to do damage to your team. So we should be. I think I'm happy with that. That I know, even if he's not playing well, teams know that this guy can come up with some sort of magic to change the game or to influence the game somehow. So I'm not going to be too hard on Mo. Alisson, though, oh my gosh, we are so lucky to have that guy. Honestly, we are the luckiest team to have Alisson in our team, because that guy, he's so different. I don't know what other keeper can come back from an injury and perform the way he did. He's so good. Like, he never missed a beat. His worst game was against Man City. Even in that game, he made some great saves. I feel like if we do win the league, it's going to be because of Alisson.
Yeah. Because
he keeps us within games. Like Aaron said, we would have lost that game. If Keller was playing, we would have lost that game. We would have actually lost that game. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I'm just happy that we have him. Honestly, you don't understand. Like when I see this guy on the pitch, I feel like it gives everybody confidence to know even if they break us down, we got a guy at the back there that is not going to let that goal is not going to go in. You know what I mean? Or if it does, it has to be a worldie for this guy or he makes a mistake. You know what I'm trying to say? So so I feel like Alisson was definitely man of the match for me personally. Elliot again coming off the bench, excellent. I feel like that's probably his best role, but I do want to see him start at some point. But I feel like him coming off the bench as an impact player and him actually getting the flow of the game, getting a chance to watch how the game is progressing and what he can do to impact the game. I feel like that's suiting him right now. But also, I want to see as the season progresses, I want to see that elevation as he starts the game, the way he comes onto the pitch in the second half when he gets stuff done. So I want to see that from Elliot going forward. And I think that's it. I think Szoboszlai needs a rest at some point because I feel like he's played a lot of football, and I feel like you're starting to see it slowly but surely by his performances in these last couple of games. It hasn't been great. I think he might need a break and just like a game off where he doesn't come on or even travels with the team and just relaxes and kind of gets his leg back under him. And I think the one positive I'll take from this game is that we're seeing goals from different areas of the pitch. It's not just our front three. The last 3 games, hardly any of our front three scored apart from today. So it kind of shows you that we have goals everywhere and goals coming off the bench, goals on the pitch, goals from Virgil, from Trent, from Szoboszlai, from McAllister, from Enzo at some point, because he has 2 goals this season, from Elliot, from Jones. So it kind of gives me confidence that we don't need to depend on our front three too much because we've got other areas in the pitch that can actually get us that, those crucial goals. So yeah, that was my take. That's what I would say personally.
Yeah, no, I to be honest, I agree with yourself, Aaron and Race. Realistically, I think anybody with eyes would see that Alisson was the best player on the pitch and realistically saved us from dropping points realistically, and then Salah rolls away with an assist and a goal after playing horrible for most of the game. And I say horrible, it's horrible by his standards because, as you said, I think he just wanted to get the 200 goal and watch him now go and score a fucking hat-trick against Man United next weekend, which really wouldn't shock me. But we are going to leave it there, guys. We have just nearly hit the 40 minutes mark with our match reaction. So please do join us later on at 7:30. I'll be back on again with more of the lads for more of a chat, maybe more of an in-depth, and I'll have some stats and everything ready for everybody from that game. So hopefully we'll be able to look into that. But with it, we are top of the table. Man United are losing. Liverpool are sitting a point ahead of Arsenal. Mo Salah got his 200th goal. Oh, United were nearly 2-0 down there. Jesus. So it's all positives, realistically. We're sat at the top of the table, and if you told me that we wouldn't buy a centre defensive midfielder and we'd be sat at the top of the table just before Christmas, I would take that. That's the way that I look at things. Guys, I appreciate everybody joining us. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you like and subscribe and help us hit that 10K mark. We're almost there. We're just at about 9,880 thereabouts, so another 120 and we have it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure you have all your notifications on for all future streams and videos, and we will see you guys at 7:30 UK time this evening. Thank you so much, and goodbye.